Point of order, sir, according to Rule 300, sir. So I would like you, sir, to bring to the notice of the House that the short duration discussion, which have already brought on the Assembly Secretariat. Also, they have already been informed me that a discussion will be on today, 15. Later, sir, you have already been informed to me that you have been rejected discussion on the ground that on the ground that
point of order, sir. Point of order,
Advocate General have already written the
sir, Rule 300.6 says that you cannot ask. You cannot raise a point of order to ask information or explain position, sir. So please, in another rule, he can bring it out. But 300 is not the provision
Mr. Speaker,
to bring out an issue like this.
I can understand why. Sir, I can understand why
follow the rules.
Why the government is afraid of.
Information is clearly mentioned.
The point of order. Sir, I just get information.
So what point of order?
Why, sir, they have not been.
You cannot ask a point of order for information.
Short duration. But sir, it is very unfortunate that it seems that the government. It seems that the government is afraid of discussion about what's happening of the HNC leader. But sir, from our side, from our side, no,
please take a seat.
Yes,
please take a seat. Please take a seat now.
The main important, sir, for this, since we didn't get the information in the House, so I stand without, sir.
Yeah,
we will out
sir.
because no chance in this discussion.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Let me reply.
Mr. Speaker, sir, can I just submit just one point? Sir, I think our honourable member, senior member from Molai, Mr. P.T. Saukme,
Please take a seat, please.
He raised point of order 300. Okay. Right. And now, when he mentioned that the government does not wanted to hide things, I think that is wrong, because this is at your discretion. When you talk about the business, any business, when you have written to the Honourable Speaker, then it is the wisdom of the Honourable Speaker to do it. But please don't blame the government. It's not that we are here to hide anything. So therefore, let us put things straight.
So whatever the Honourable Deputy Minister said, sir, so I'm not satisfied with whatever the government did, because a letter which I will write to you is advice. It right from the side of the Home Minister. Home Minister said, because of the opinion of the Attorney General, that he said it's not advisable to discuss. That's why it seems from our side, since we didn't get a scope to discuss it for the House, better we walk out, sir. I will walk out for this issue, sir.
Yes, sir. When we talk about a matter which can be considered for discussion under the relevant rules of procedure and conduct of business, which was referred to the honourable member who has tabled this short duration discussion. Now, we can actually ensure that we don't touch those points which can be interpreted as those areas which will be covered under the your interpretation of matter under sub judice. So I think this particular short duration discussion has enough scope to dwell upon the issues which can draw the attention of the government outside those areas which can be considered covered under as sub judice. Therefore, I would like to request, because this whole decision to disallow is an offshoot of the letter which has come from the government. That means the government wants to avoid discussion on this, while actually I think people of the state wants the discussion to be here. But the only thing is that whether those areas which is covered, which can be considered as sub judice, can be avoided during the discussion. So I think I would like to urge upon you, in spite of the letter which has come from the government, may you allow or reconsider this ruling that you have given, sir.
So I would like also to endorse what the Leader of Opposition has just mentioned, sir. We will be confining only to certain areas which concerns the topic of the short duration. So we are aware that there is already a judicial inquiry instituted and the process is already on. But sir, we will not touch those areas which are sensitive, those areas which we fully understand that may somehow or the other influence this way or that way. So that's why, sir, allow us, sir. Sir, please, we will confine strictly. And in case, sir, we have gone one line or the other beyond, you may kindly reprimand us and we will sit down, sir. So just allow this for the sake of the people of Maulai, for the sake of the people of the state, sir. We are committed today, sir, that we have to speak few things to the government which we have in our hearts. The voice of the people has to be voiced here on the floor of the House, sir. Otherwise, where would we go and speak, sir? We cannot go and speak in the street. We want to speak today, face to face, so that we can hear the justification made by the government as well, sir. So kindly please do allow and consider your order, sir, please.
Sir, may I just submit? So this short duration notice clearly says that about the suspension of the two superintendents of police. So in yesterday's discussion and the reply from the Home Minister, it was made very clear to us by the Honorable Chief Minister also that they have constituted a committee of inquiry to be headed by the Chief Justice. Now, that is part of the inquiry to be taken up by the Chief Justice. But the suspension of SP, is a matter of administrative procedure. That doesn't come under any administrative inquiry, judicial inquiry. So we must separate the two. I will give you an instance, sir. In the year 1982 in Assam, in Jorhat, a similar incident had taken place, whereby the then SP was removed, suspended. So that should not be linked to the inquiry that's going to be constituted and done to get at the final result of what actually happened. That we don't want to interfere in. But this discussion is totally separate from the matter which is under sub judice. Therefore, sir, although you have given your ruling, I would kindly request you to consider.
I would like to again say like this, reiterate. Sir, yes, we understand well. Still we have the opportunity. If we talk about short duration discussion, well, we leave it to your wisdom. But I would like to suggest, even you can go for special motion. Even you can go for special motion. That also can be done, sir. Not necessarily only short duration. Even special motion can be taken up. That also can be done, sir.
Sir, since the notice that was given to the Honourable Member for Maulai earlier was that the short duration discussion was admitted today, and the withdrawal came only after the letter came from the government. Sir, people are out on the streets, sir. Lakhs of people are out on the streets voicing concerns about what has happened in the state. We'll be found fumbling on our duty, sir, if we do not take up the discussion, sir, as we had moved the special short duration discussion focusing on the suspension of the SP, sir.
I would just like to add one point here, that even yesterday when the question hour was going on, the Honourable Member from Maulai himself, towards the end of the question while it was moving on, he himself said that this is sub judice, it should not have been allowed. Why was this allowed? Is the statement he made. So it is his suggestion only. And the point that he's making, which he made yesterday, is what we are following. The matter is that the facts will come out. Demand was there for a judicial inquiry. That is why it has been set. And these factors and these issues will impact this inquiry. It will be incorrect from a rule, from the entire procedure point of view, to bring in something that is in that line, sir. And that point was mentioned yesterday by the Honourable Member himself. So therefore, sir, it is not on the basis of the fact that we don't want to discuss this, but there are certain constraints which even the House has to honor and has to see, and that's why it is happening. So therefore, sir, the question was raised yesterday. The Honourable Home Minister has given a very exhaustive reply in this thing, and the most important aspect is that the judicial inquiry is there, and all the facts and the realities will come out in the judicial inquiry, and we should give the chance to the judicial inquiry to be completed, sir.
Sir, Mr. Speaker, sir. Yesterday, I refer about a letter which have already been received from the government, from the Assembly Secretary 2 days back. At the beginning, you have already admitted today. Then after some time that they have already been sent a letter that because of the government, the Home Minister himself, because you have enclosed the letter to me. If you didn't enclose that letter to me, I don't know anything about what is going on or going wrong. In that letter, Home Minister himself have already mentioned that he had already been obtained the opinion from the Advocate General, and he said, and he referred the Rule 59, which is no scope for discussion. He also mentioned about the subject is, I refer whatever letter have already said to me. See, because of that reason, so yesterday I said, how you reply? Mistake is already committed since yesterday because he replied. That's why I raised about subjects. But sir, regarding with this matter, which have already been raised, we request, if possible, if not, it is up to you, sir, because you are the final authority to give judgment. But if not, from our side, as a mark of protest, because this is the voice of the people, the voice of people of the state, we have to stay out for some time, sir.
Sir, Honorable Speaker, sir. Sir, this is something that we need to really think about. It's not just to raise our voices and keep screaming at each other. So yesterday, the whole issue was relating to the IED blast, the question. Now that question, IED blast, led to the questions of killing of late Cherisfield. Thank you. Now, sir, at that point of time, had the Honorable Home Minister stopped or avoided or sought your permission not to go ahead, then, sir, things would have stopped there. And, sir, your Honorable Speaker, sir, you also allowed, sir, the discussion to go further, and then the questions went on, and there was no question of sub judice.
No, I have given the ruling yesterday, because sir, I am allowed to a limited scope for discussion. Sir. That was a question hour. Okay, so I can understand that how I can take it. Yes, why I have accepted this letter which has come from the government is basically, it refers to Rule 59. I have already spelled it out. If you want, I can again, which I am sure that all of you are aware very much about it. Okay, so I'm afraid that this might, might have some sort of, reflection as far as the inquiry is concerned. That is on that ground, and I have to forward the letter which I have received from the government to the honourable member.
So we assure you that we will confine strictly within the boundaries of what we want to talk, not beyond whatever that is going to be sub judice, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the demand for suspension of the concerned officers is not at all something which can be considered as a matter of sub judice. Now, from the stand of the government, it proves beyond reasonable doubt that they are hell-bent on sticking to the decision that they have taken, and they want to completely stonewall any possibility of discussion on this so that we can have a logical conclusion and have a conscious decision to be taken by the government based on an offshoot of the deliberation of this August House. It would have been rather an opportunity for the government to actually review their stand and take a conscious decision which is considered best for the interest of the state. Now, in absence of that, we understand that even discussion on the subject will be meaningless because they will not be willing to even, probably, in other words, it will all fall in deaf ears. Because even yesterday's proceeding, what we saw, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that when we heard the submission of the Honorable CM, he seemed to have been disconnected because the fact that the Minister in charge, Home, have gone ahead in replying those subjects which should have been avoided is what was referred to by the Honorable Commissioner, that was supposed to be sub judice, you have replied. Now, but the most important part is that I think the intent of the government is very clear before us. We will not, in futility, engage in discussion and debate. We walk out to demonstrate our disapproval and our complete sense of lack of confidence on the intent of the government.